Beige! Beige is the new WWE champion as of last night's Raw. You might notice that we are not in the studio that we just so recently returned to. We're from home because I'm not feeling very well and we don't want to kill Luke. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen, D.A.D., and this is the Raw Review Podcast. Please give us a subscribe. Get in your Ultrachats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5 USD. And smash that thumbs up button. Smash it. Kick it in the face. Give it a big ending. Segue.
Cash it in on the like button.
Punch it in the face, hand over the briefcase to a referee, and cash in on all of the things we just promoted while we talk about the ending to last night's Raw.
Yes, indeed. Are you throwing to me to
throwing to you
the opening gambit? Okay, in which case, let's get on the opening gambit, because this is great, right? Like, this is wonderful. It's so nice to see. It's lovely to see the wrestling community be so positive about something. It's nice to see everyone be so positive about something that WWE have done. Awesome for Big E, such a wonderful human being. And it's nice when nice things happen to nice and good people. Good people getting nice things is always absolutely wonderful. I mean, let's not ignore the fact that this was a completely cynical throw by WWE because they were panicked by the ratings. Ignoring that, this was a completely great moment and I absolutely loved it.
I was waiting for the but. You AEW shill. I think this is the turning point. I think me and my man Vince, I've been saying it forever. I've always been behind Raw. I think this is the turning point in the wrestling wars where Raw can finally start to beat AEW in the demographics again.
Yeah, so this was a last-minute decision. It was supposed to be Randy Orton and Matt Riddle of RK Bro defending the Raw tag titles against Bobby Lashley and MVP. And then AEW did a really good rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. And let's see, they beat Raw, but by 3,000 viewers. It wasn't like this big concrete smash of a win. They just sort of like eked out slightly more people than Raw did. But it was clearly enough to spook USA Network, who are paying 4 times the amount that TNT are paying for AEW. So they were like, you need to do something big on this show. Plus, Monday Night Football is starting up. So the touchdowns are going to kill us. Do a big thing.
Well, they really promoted it as well. Like, Big E was on social media during the day saying, hey, I'm going to cash in my briefcase tonight. By the way, the start of the show was Big E making his entrance down to the ring. It was a weird opening. Like, Big E's entrance music hit. Didn't even cut a promo. Then Riddle and Randy Orton came down. They didn't cut a promo. Then Lashley and MVP came down. It was like, are you going to have a match? This is how matches work.
Yeah, it was a really bizarre way to open the show. And like, you know, it's funny as well, actually. The Big E thing of him putting up on social media that he's going to be on the show and he is going to cash in his Money in the Bank. There are some that think that was because Sean reported that he was going to be on the show. And because like Big E said, now the cat's out the bag. Just want to let everyone know I'm going to be on Raw tonight and I am going to cash in and I'm going to end the night as WWE champion. And I wonder if it's a case of once the news had sort of got out that he was going to be on Raw, they were like, cool, let's just start promoting this then. Because they'd announced like on Sunday or whenever it was that they changed the main event to Orton versus Lashley for the title. And then, yeah, they made the call instead to have Big E cash in. Apparently, it was supposed to happen on the draft episode in October, and they've pulled that forward to do it now because, yeah, AEW did a big number and the touchdowns.
The touchdowns. Well, you know, I think it's that they pretty much announced it at the start of the show anyway, so the social media bits are negligible, really. But that's what baby faces should do. When they say, I'm going to do this thing, they should then successfully do the thing because they're meant to be honest with me. They're meant to be a stand-up guy. And that's what Big E did. I thought this opening segment where he made it clear, I'm going to cash in by the end of the night, I thought it was really good. I thought everyone involved, I thought Randy feels like he's got a new fire to him. Like, do you think this is the best Randy has ever been as a babyface.
Oh, as a babyface, 100%. Yeah, for a second, I thought you were about to say, is this the best that Randy Orton has ever been? And I'm like, I feel like we have this conversation every year. Is this the best run that Randy Orton's ever had?
That's good, right, though? You know, that he can turn heel last year. I'm like, this is the best Randy Orton's ever been as a heel. And now he's turned face. Like, it's refreshing to see people get better in WWE.
Yeah.
And not a slow spiral into terribleness.
After 20 years, it had to happen, I guess. You know, I thought this was a really fun opening segment. Aside from the fact it was staged so weirdly, it was really good. I liked MVP's promo. I thought was great. I thought the Orton's promo was great. But like Beige standing in the background, essentially just like letting everyone know, like, this conversation doesn't matter. Like, no matter what, you can talk trash all you want. I'm going to cash in tonight.
Oh, I think your internet is not behaving there. Oh dear. Well, I'm ill and Luke has no internet. I'll take over while you get resolution back. But yeah, Bobby had some fine lines, and throughout the night, Big E was then going into those backstage interview segments and going, oh, like there was one bit where Randy was he was trying to focus, he had his headphones on, and Riddle was going, hey, Randy, you know, you can do this and you can do that. You're the best, man. Just doing an endless run of comments. And Randy obviously can't hear him because he's trying to focus. And Big E walks in like, this isn't my locker room. Like, it was really funny. It was, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm going to cash in on you later. It did the same for a Bobby and MVP thing. And lo and behold, after what I thought was a very good main event between Lashley and Orton, by far the best match on the show. But really, like, pay-per-view caliber for those two guys. Big E comes down after Bobby puts Randy Orton through the announcer's table, even though he'd already beaten him. Bobby, did you see this leg injury thing?
Yeah, so they were doing, I think they'd actually done something during the match as well, of like Bobby selling a few things to be like, well, it's okay, because when Big E then cashes on him later, he's got like an excuse as to why he was laid out. But him like getting overzealous with putting Randy Orton through the table with the spine buster, tweaked his leg in the process. So when he had the match with Beige, first thing the Beige did was go for the leg.
But it was also a shoot, because the way the table exploded, the corner of the table exploded into his lower shin.
You know, really? I thought it was just a selling of the leg thing injury. I didn't realize it was actually like the table itself had hit him in the leg.
Apparently it was a bit of both. But yes, they get in, they go to break, they come back. It's a full cash in. There's like 4 minutes of the show left. Pretty much, Pete had already messaged me. Oh, the title of today's news should probably be the thing that happened on Raw. I won't tell you yet because you haven't seen it. I'm like, well, I'm a smart guy. I can assume that Gorg is going to come back. So imagine my delight when it was Big E successfully cashing in. Lashley speared him, and then Big E kicked out. Big ending for the win. Literally, I
was surprised to see that. Like, so Beige cashed in on Lashley and they announced like Big E is cashing in his Money in the Bank contract. And then they went to a commercial break. There was like 3 minutes left of the show. And they were like, oh, we can squeeze one more. We can squeeze one more ad break into this episode. So I thought that was like really weird pacing. But also I think it's to give people time to call their friends and say, hey, tune into USA Network. They're going to change the title. It's mad, isn't it? That the last 4 title changes, 3 of them have been on TV. Because we had Orton beat Drew for the title. We had Bobby beat Miz for the title. And we've had Big E beat Bobby for the title. All of them have been on Raw. All of them have also been desperate attempts to when ratings are in a bit of a slump and the networks are upset.
Yeah, well, glad Peacock are paying for all those pay-per-views, right? So it was very good. It was a great ending. The New Day then rush out and celebrate with Beige. So just lovely. And there was that was it. Well done, WWE. I've seen a lot of people, and it's weird that I'm not one of them, but a lot of people are now like, great moment. I can't get invested in this because WWE have had zero follow-up for about 15 years now. So
I mean,
why should I
I'm
get
one of those people?
Why should I root for Big E? Why should I be happy about this when I've seen what happened to Kofi Kingston and he's just going to go on a nothing title reign and then eventually beat him by Brock Lesnar or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, there was last night was, that kind of infuriating side of wrestling fandom on the Bird app, because you had the people who were saying this is because AEW did a big number and football's on, so it's a desperate ratings grab, like to make people to do this. There are those that are like WWE also always has a long-term plan. Who are, I would say are wrong. And then perhaps worse, there are the people who are just like, who are then complaining about the people who are pointing out that this is nothing but a ratings grab. And it is just this all like, and this is one of those times where you're like, oh, this is why social media is a terrible, terrible thing. And I am of the opinion, said this was a desperate ratings grab. I'm happy that it happened and it was a very cool moment. But for me, it's as meaningful as Nikki A.S.H cashing in. And
wow.
Done to pop a rating, done to pop a crowd. I'm hoping that it works. I'm hoping that this show does a great number. But let's see what happens next week before we start getting excited about like a new era of WWE, because we've been having new eras of Monday Night Raw now for many, many, many years. And I'm kind of tired of saying like, oh, this is the one. This is the moment when it's going to turn. If next week's show is banging and the week after that is banging, and I'll be like, wow, we've had 3 really good weeks of let's be honest, it wasn't that great of a show. It just had a really great ending. I will wait and see.
Well, we've got a new era of NXT starting tonight, 2.0 / actually 5.6, I think in the update order. But the report that this was always meant to happen, Big E was always meant to cash in his briefcase, win the title on the 4th of October Raw as part of the draft, that to me says there is some kind of plan in place. And I look at the landscape of WWE, and the clearest plan to me, and I don't think this is much of a fantasy booking reach, is we're going into Survivor Series time. It's going to be Big E versus Roman Reigns, which can be supplemented by the Usos versus the New Day. And rather than have one champion beat the other, God, if Survivor Series is the Bloodline versus the New Day, that sounds excellent. And Roman stuff, they plan out.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking then, who are the Raw Tag Champs? Oh, it's RK Bro, isn't it? I genuinely couldn't think of who it was for a second, but it's RK Bro. I was thinking this morning that I think there's every chance that the New Day win the Raw Tag straps before Survivor Series, so they do the 6-man tag there. Like, as you say, because like New Day versus the Bloodline, that is an awesome lineup. Like that is really exciting, given the history of New Day and the Usos. Now combined with Big E as the WWE champion, I love that idea so much, and I'm fully on board for that. And actually, like the idea of taking the belt off of Bobby on the October 4th show also makes sense, because they're probably going to do Gorg versus Lashley at the Saudi show, and Gorg is going to win, but they don't want Gorg to be the champion, which we've talked about extensively on this show. How do you do that match? You take the belt off of Bobby and you do it as a straight singles match, and Gorg can get the win in 5 minutes.
Gorg already said he's not interested about the championship. He wants the soul.
Exactly.
Just one set up the Undertaker match. Well, let's see what you guys think. I'm going to throw over to Luke to read out the Ultrachats.
Of course, yes. I'm hoping my internet holds up. Again, apologies if you are just joining us. We are remote again today. Oliver Davis is not particularly well. Also, apologies that we had to set up a second stream again like we did on Friday, because StreamYard saved us during the pandemic in terms of letting us broadcast this and being able to do this podcast. It's been a fantastic platform for us. but I've had some issues with it over the last few days. Kevin said, great show. I was going to pass on it, but was really enjoyable with a great finish. Seeing the huge amount of love Big E received on Twitter shows how much of a great guy he is. He truly deserved it. And yes, real men cry, Ollie. You're the mark. Yeah, I agree. Like the outpouring of love for Beige online was so awesome to see. Alpha Wolf says, what a refreshing Raw. Marie and Doudrop aside, I've always been a huge advocate for Lashley, and this cemented my respect for him. If you watch as Big E pinning him when he was on the outside after, Lashley had a huge smile on his face. Sell the moment, Bubbles.
That's not cool, Bubbles.
Yeah, I'm sorry, like Alpha Wolf. You think that's cool? I don't like that he's there on the outside smiling. You just lost the belt, mate. Make it feel important.
Yeah.
James Dobinson, great moment for Big E, but I think it would have been a much bigger moment if it had come out of nowhere rather than the cash-in being announced on social media before the show. Are you surprised by how hot the crowd are for Alexa Bliss? I like her, and I am. After last week, no. And after the sales of the Lily doll at SummerSlam, absolutely not. Charles Berg said, genuinely fun episode of Raw, engaging story thread that went throughout the whole night, matches and promos that were enjoyable, and of course, Beige. Kudos to Bobby Lashley. I don't know if he was selling, but the leg injury seemed legitimate. Jam that jam. Also, credit to Bubbles. Great championship run he's had as well since Feb. I've really enjoyed his WWE title reign.
Yeah, people were like, oh, it's a shame that Bobby just unceremoniously lost the title. I don't mind it because I also like Beige.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
And I think he had a good stint. You know, he got to successfully defend at Mania. Really, this, you know, originally this run was meant to end at WrestleMania and Drew was meant to get it back. But he got a lot more months than was originally planned. So I'm okay with it.
Will Campbell, hey guys, this is the first legitimately excellent Raw I've seen in a long time. I just about jumped through my ceiling when Beige pinned Bobby Lashley after the big ending. Jimmy Smith and Byron Saxton also came through with an all-time great 5 out of 5. Jam that jam. Alpaca Nation said, great night of wrestling. Am I crazy? Or did seeing Styles flanked by Mace and T-Bar look cool? Also, I'm so beyond happy for Biggie. Finally, my only concern is that this company likes making moments and will screw up the title run.
The fact that they had a plan for this, they've just moved it forward, makes me optimistic.
Homostar Fan 13 said, I'm happy at Big E winning the title, but I can't help but think this was just done to pop a rating, and I'm worried they don't actually have a plan after this. May sound pessimistic, but WWE has shown multiple times failures to write stories. Adrian wasn't a huge fan of Langston, but I've been a New Day mark since they were heel preachers. So happy for Beige. Literal tears last night. Did you cry?
No. Not a mark.
10 Rosa, hey guys, it was a fun episode of Raw. Big E cash-in was great, but yes, I too have the cynical viewpoint as this was a last minute, not well thought out. I won't get excited until 3 to 4 weeks later when we see where we are. Sorry, but I have been burned before. I'm with you, 10 Rosa. Danny G, a cynical ratings grabs go. This is one of the best. Do you know what, Danny G? That's a brilliant way to put it. A cynical ratings grabs go. This was a good one. Beach is one of the good guys and so deserving of this. Well, we've had our nice WWE moment now. Goldberg is taking the title in Saudi Arabia, I presume.
On the cynical ratings grabs. Yeah, because we've seen bad cynical ratings grabs. We lived through Raw Underground. Remember.
Retribution. Dogs of Wrestling, I don't usually watch Raw, but I saw it today. Big E is WWE Champion. I hope we get a Big E versus Roman at Survivor Series. I think the promos will be interesting due to Roman's tweet. Jam that jam, LIW, for life. What was the point that he made that I was going to bring up? That I've seen a lot of that, actually. You know, even Tempest messaged yesterday to say, like, I'm legit watching Raw live. They've made, like, WWE have made me watch Raw live. And kind of like going back to someone who said that I wish they hadn't announced it ahead of time. I think that announcing it ahead of time was the best thing that they could have done, because it really, I haven't seen this many people excited to watch an episode of Raw. I mean, I can't even think of the last time people were that excited to watch an episode of Raw, like pre-pandemic. So it was a really smart move on their part to essentially announce ahead of time, hey, watch this show because we are going to see a cash-in and a new WWE champion crowned.
And I've got to be honest, announcing it at the start of the show in the way Big E did and that it was a character saying it, not WWE as a company saying it, which is a very important difference, I think might have actually made the show better. Like, the people get so caught up in the idea of shock moments or surprise moments when really, statistically, people enjoy things more when they can semi-predict what's going to happen. So for the people like, it would have been better if it was a big shock and surprise. I disagree. I think from a storytelling perspective, and as I reckon we'll see a ratings win.
Oh, yeah.
I think this was the right move.
I think this is going to do, whether it does a huge number is a different matter, but I think it will do a better number than it would have done had they not announced ahead of time.
A beige number, you might say.
Hey, do you know what I mean? Okay, so I've had my cynical point of view on this, but do you know what I really thought of the match?
Pardon my lewdness. I got a boner for that.
The clips are back. We genuinely had a 90-minute meeting earlier today, which was essentially me and Luke saying, but how can we play clips again on the podcast in the studio? Make that happen, Rich, please. Right, please get in your Ultrachats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one of them, over $5 by the end of the show. Let's get into this Monday Night Raw episode. And if you're just joining us, I'm ill. That's why we're not in the studio. So apologies for that. We've already covered the opening segment. It was Big E coming down and interrupting, well, not interrupting anything. Everyone just had a little promo. And the first match was Charlotte versus Shayna Baszler, which, full disclosure, I genuinely liked everything on this show.
I'm
even the bad stuff.
Stunned by that. Like, there was a lot of like nothingness on this show,
and I loved it. I think the crowd were incredible.
Really were. Yeah,
like
the crowd was so hot all night. Boston.
Yeah. Okay. Well, amazing job, Boston. I know Gregory, one of our long-running mods, was there, but yeah, I am ill, so maybe that had something to do with how malleable or just sort of susceptible I was to WWE.
So what this show is going to be, this episode of the WrestleTalk Podcast is going to be, is Ollie blindly loving a lot of things, then me being like, hang a tick. Like, because at the start of this, because like Charlotte Flair versus Shayna Baszler, right? This match was set up because, and Shayna Baszler explained, like, you know, hey, Nia Jax, like, I didn't think that you'd be able to beat Charlotte Flair. And I'm like, Nia beat her 2 weeks ago. Like, why do you think she couldn't beat her? She literally beat her in the middle of the ring 2 weeks ago. And this match, I enjoyed this match, actually. I don't think it did a lot for Shayna Baszler because the commentary was saying throughout the entire match, man, look how great Charlotte is. She is dominating this match. She is taking all of this match. And then it was a terrible distraction finish by Nia Jax. But it wasn't about, this wasn't about Shayna Baszler, nor was it really much about Nia Jax. This was about making Charlotte Flair look good so you could do the angle afterwards.
She won with a big boot.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? To beat Shayna Baszler with a big boot. Anyway, you're right. Baszler and Jax just kind of walked off afterwards. Like they were still together, but annoyed with each other.
They're still a tag team, apparently.
They're having a match next week.
Well, you know, your brother's fighting all that. Sisters fight.
Allegedly having a match next week. So Bliss comes down after this with Lily and a present, and the crowd are just going crazy for her. They do this segment to elicit a yes chant.
Yeah. And
like Charlotte was like, do you really want to see me have this present? Yes.
Yeah.
Weird.
Crowd, well, and we saw this last week. The crowd of, like, bearing in mind at WrestleMania, the crowd there were not into Alexa Bliss because what they saw her there at the time was an imitation Fiend knockoff that was kind of killing the Fiend's momentum. Now that Bray is gone and they have dropped all the Fiend stuff from Alexa Bliss, she's not getting the "we want Wyatt" chants anymore. She's just getting genuinely babyface reactions because she's also dropped all of the spooky nonsense from her act now. Lily is no longer alive. Lily is not a living puppet. Lily isn't winking at people anymore. She is just a puppet that she carries around. So she's now no longer spooky bollocks. she's just a Harley Quinn character. And people like Harley Quinn. And that's great.
I like Harley Quinn.
I like Harley Quinn as well. This is what we wanted since Alexa Bliss took this character on, was we wanted less of the spooky bollocks, more of the Harley Quinn aspect of it. And Alexa Bliss is really, really good at it. And now because she's just doing that, the crowd are responding to that. And like she was, I mean, it made literally no sense for Charlotte to open the presents, because why would you? Like it's so out of character for Charlotte Flair to be like, oh, okay, I'll play your little games. Like, no, you would just boot her in the face and move on with your day.
But she's also a queen. And she's like, oh, yes, I will take you've bought me a present. Of course you have. I'm amazing. But she opens it. Inside was a Charlotte version of Lily, which Charlotte didn't like. Bliss called her a bitch, which was fun. But yeah, I agree. Later on, Charlotte threw the Charlotte doll into the bin. And I was so scared because the camera went right up to the bin, saw the doll in there. And I was like, oh no, is it going to sort of move or wink at me? And it didn't. So this is exactly the way this feud should be going. So I'm happy with this.
Absolutely. It's none of that. So like, and that's really good. Also, I think if WWE had any smarts about them, they do a whole line of Lily dolls as other wrestlers.
What, like the new pop Funko figures?
Yeah, it's a new version of the Cabbage Patch doll. Just show my age. They were, and like that's a new line for WWEshop.com. I think they would do pretty well selling. That's
what Nick Khan wants. Everything's got to be merchandisable. I can't wait for the Karion Kross figure with suit. I want the Karion Kross gimp version and suit version. After that, Drew McIntyre beat Jinder Mahal, Veer, and Shanky. The Viking Raiders were in his corner, I think. Were they ever actually tagging with him?
This was there so that the commentators could talk about the ring full of giants. They mentioned giants so much on this show about like look how tall everyone is. And that's all this match was there to be, was 6 tall people being tall. I think it is concerning that Hansen is wearing a t-shirt, but they were all tall and Drew McIntyre won again.
5 out of 5. New Day reunion backstage. That was nice. Reggie escapes like 100 different people. Jeff Hardy, I couldn't see him in there, but I'm sure he wanted
preparing for his match.
Oh no, but it's the 24/7 title, Luke. But he got away, and then Drake Maverick said to R-Truth and the Kira Tozawa, it's not your plan that's the problem, it's the execution. So look, I love Maverick. He's doing a weird thing here. Like, he's not doing goofy, over-the-top comedy things. He comes off a bit sad.
No, I disagree. I think he's now the mastermind of the 24/7 division. He is bringing his experience of winning that belt multiple times. And he is going to be the man that puts together the great plan to get the belt off of Reggie. I think this could actually be some really, really funny stuff. If they set up like mousetrap style like things to try and get him, various different like, a bathtub falls off to try and trap him, or like, like cages come down and this, that, and the other. And like
Brian Cage.
Yeah, exactly. Brian Cage or Christian Cage. And like they literally have comedy segments where he is Wile E. Coyote trying to get the Roadrunner. And he's Acme big like blueprint plans. I think it could be some really good stuff around that.
I get that. I agree with you. I just don't think Maverick. I think Maverick looks dead inside when he's in the segments.
That's because all of his friends got fired.
Yeah, that's fair. Damien Priest and Jeff Hardy had a match for the United States title. Like, what a trajectory for Hardy, who was in the 24/7 title picture last week. I thought this was a good match. I got quite into it. Yeah. Priest like kept on seemingly about to win, but then Jeff Hardy would kick out, and you could see Priest like initially was like, I'm facing Jeff Hardy, what a privilege. But by the end, he was like, you little fucking stay down, okay? Yeah. And then, crucially, and this was another big reason why I enjoyed this show so much, another clean victory.
Yeah, Priest has got a lot of those under his belt as well. They were really putting over this on commentary that like there is no there is no one on the Raw brand with a hotter streak than Damien Priest at the moment, because he's just like, he always wins and he keeps pinning like big names. I'm
He's
so
the
glad
Colton Gunn of WWE.
I'm so glad that Jeff Hardy got back No More Words. It's really worked out for him and his push. Good going there, everyone. But this was a really fun match, and I don't need to see Damien Priest versus Sheamus again. I know we're getting it the pay-per-view, but I'm ready for Priest to move on to like into a new feud.
Yeah, agreed. Sheamus jumped them both afterwards, though, and Priest like got the better of him. So yeah, they are so behind Priest. Good. Big E did the thing I talked about earlier, where he walked into Orton's locker room, teased the cash in. Then we got, this is where I was like, am I delirious? Why am I enjoying Nikki and Rhea Ripley? Because Nikki and Rhea Ripley do a thing backstage. Natalya and Tamina walk up and I don't know what they argue about, but they start arguing and Sonya Deville's like, wait, you should all have a match now. And I was just like, I enjoyed that in a stupid way.
I've no idea how. This was awful. This was like Nick. I don't mind the pairing of Nikki and Rhea Ripley, right? Like I think they're a perfectly fine pairing. The problem is that they are the third of three mixed match tag teams of like, how can they possibly coexist? Wacky best friends they are. You've seen from main event, they've now got a fourth. Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo are teaming together. So now there's like, so we've got four of these bloody teams now. It's then
if it ain't broke,
it worked with one. It will definitely work with three others. And then, man alive, Natty and Tamina, the least credible champions in WWE, hilariously terrible. Walk up, and then to cap this off, Sonya Deville calls her Nikki A.H.S. And then everyone's
what
like,
does that stand for?
American Horror Story. And yeah, really, really bad. And that led to Nikki and Tamina having a awful
Brilliant.
match.
Oh, what?
Terrible match.
What are you talking about?
God awful this match was. Just dreadful.
I'm not even trolling you here. I'm watching this match and I'm like, she's getting offense in.
No,
I've seen
I've
seen so many Nikki Cross matches recently where she's just beaten up all the time and she hits one move at the end and wins, or she tags out and Ripley wins. No, she genuinely got a lot of offense in here. And I was like, yes, this is good. This makes it more satisfying when she wins, and she does win, kind of.
I don't think she was supposed to win here. I really don't, because so Nikki pins her after this sort of like botched. It wasn't botched. It just didn't look great. Tornado DDT, and the referee counts the three, even though Tamina kicked out. They play Tamina's music and announce Tamina as the winner. I'm pretty sure.
How could you not love this? How could you not?
Pretty sure Tamina was supposed to win here. But like, also, you saying that she got offense in, the commentary kept saying Tamina's dominating. So no one meaner than Tamina. She is dominating this match. It was every Nikki Cross match you've ever seen, and they bollocked the finish. Bad this was.
5 stars. Then we got Natalya versus Rhea Ripley, but not before they beat up Nikki, and Nikki had to go to the back. I enjoyed Natalya versus Ripley.
Well,
you know, the clash of charisma.
This was awesome because, yeah, you're right. These two have
it wasn't awesome.
Terrible backstage segments, but this match ruled. This match might be my favorite match of the night. I thought this was terrific.
Over Lashley versus Orton.
Over Lashley Orton, I enjoyed this match so much more.
Wow, I mean, you've gone too much the other way now.
No, I thought this was really, really good. Although the commentary did say Nikki beating Tamina was an upset. I'm like, they beat them last week. Like, how's that an upset? They've already beaten them once. It's not an upset, mate. But I thought this was really, really good. And Rhea tapped her out, which is why I think Tamina was definitely supposed to win, because, man, Natty and Tamina can't buy a victory at the moment. But yeah, I thought this was really good.
Also, Nikki ran down to stop Natalya from cheating. So that was like I said it in my review. I felt
she also cheated as well. She tripped Natty on when Natty had the match won.
Yeah, but she's a superhero. She's a moral babyface.
By
She's getting the comeuppance. I genuinely thought it felt a bit like a house show style. Yeah, let's just give the babyface a cleanish win for the crowd. I was over the moon. Again, 5 out of 5. This is when Charlotte threw the Charlie doll in the trash backstage. Then we got Ali, Mansoor, and the New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos, T-Bar, and Mace in the only fallout to the tag team turmoil match that took up half of last week's episode.
Well, surely, I suppose it'd probably be Bobby Beige at the pay-per-view, won't it?
Yeah.
Now at this point. But this was great. This was so much fun. And this was structured really, really well as well. Like, it was also, commentary said, Mustafa Ali and Mansoor are not the only unlikely duo on Raw. And I was like, no, there's fucking hundreds of them. But like, again, Notribution come out and they were like, man, look at those giants. What giant men that they are. But hey, if you think they're giants, wait till you see the next guy. Oh, giants! And just like jacking it off underneath the desk. But what I loved about this match is this match was structured to be really fun. And it was Mansoor, Mustafa Ali, the New Day, and Notribution getting in and AJ Styles doing so much fun house show spots. Just doing like every indie show you've ever been to, doing a 6-man tag. It was so much fun. And then Omos tags in, and the crowd went ballistic because, as you and I have said many, many times, he's the next Lou Thez. Next Carl Gotch, like the next greatest wrestler that this company has ever seen.
It's the agility of the guy that blows me away.
You
and
can't
how
stop him.
It's like, I don't think I'm getting ahead of myself here, where I think he's better than Andre the Giant already.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, he is like, we're lucky that he is carrying AJ Styles to such good matches at the moment because, I mean, he's what a star that he is. The next coming of Kurt Angle, this man.
AJ's hurting, probably. He's banged up, and thankfully, Omos is there to do a lot of the work for AJ.
Oh, yeah.
What I liked about this template, as well as you've laid it out already, it's what I want to happen to NXT. So, NXT for so long has been all the cool, the wrestling moves with the indie stars, and here comes a big guy. And he's like, no, because he beat all 4 of them. The 4 men in the number 1 contenders, or to crown the the replacement NXT champion tonight, Kyle O'Reilly, LA Knight, Pete Dunne, and Tommaso Ciampa. I want Omos to just go in there in a match he's not even in, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
Squashes them all, doing a raw tree slam, and then becomes the new NXT champion. I mean, best for business.
What a genius move you are. Like, and it's with such sincerity you say it is why I know that you truly, truly believe it. On that note as well, I'm pretty sure that LA Knight is winning. He is the tallest of the group.
That's who you'd bet for. Huh?
Well, yeah, he hasn't got the indie background, has he? TNA doesn't count. So, they've already beaten the indie out of him.
He's the most main roster guy in NXT since EC3.
Yeah, I know, right? Which is why I think he's winning tonight.
Yeah.
But the other thing I really enjoyed about this, because I loved Mansoor. What a lovable babyface he is, tagging with the New Day, and Ali next to him being like, mate, pack it in. What are you doing? What are you dancing around for? And there was a moment during this when they were doing the Stampede, like stomp thing that they do in the corner when they were the New Day. So like Woods would tag in and Woods would start stomping in the corner. He tags in Kofi, Kofi starts stomping in the corner. Tag in Mansoor, he'd start tagging in the corner. Ali standing next to him be like, tag me, guys, tag me. And they wouldn't tag him. Eventually he blind tags himself and be like, I'm going to take charge of this match. And he gets decked. I thought it was so, because it tells a really good character story. I thought this was so much fun, and the crowd popped huge for Omos, and Omos took out everyone, and he won. This match was designed to get over Omos, and once again, it worked.
Yeah, and it was, like you said, it worked, and I liked it. So that's quite a tricky thing to make me root for a guy who can't wrestle at the end of the day. And Actually, one more point on this. I enjoyed bits of Mason T-Bar here. When they got in, when they first tagged in and just annihilated everyone, I was like, oh, this feels like what Retribution should have been doing.
Yeah, right?
Back in the day.
That's what we said last week. Like, last week was the best that they have ever looked. It's like this dominating Raw attack. I mean, they look ridiculous. Like, the gear is so stupid, and the face paint makes them look like arseholes. But, like, they get in the ring and they beat people up, and it's great.
Speaking of looking ridiculous, MVP and Lashley are backstage. Oh, Kevin Krabs here to do an interview. Big E came over and teased the briefcase cash in. Then we got Doudrop versus Eva Marie.
Right, okay, so this match made no sense. You want to talk about Nikki Kross getting in offense. Eva Marie took so much of this match, considering that her gimmick is supposed to be she's not the wrestler. That's why she had Doudrop do the wrestling for her. But a lot of this match, and then Doudrop won. This match sucked, and it makes no sense, and I can't wait to see it next week.
Yeah, so they kind of they told the story of someone who thought they could wrestle, and thought they were strong, taking on a bigger, stronger person. Because so much of Eva Marie's offense, Doudrop just kind of shrugged off. It's quite a funny finish, actually, when Eva Marie kind of tried the drop down inside cradle, but Doudrop was just like, nope, I'm not going down for that, and then splashed her for the win. But yeah, it was inoffensive, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was
over in 3 minutes.
No good, but I mean, you said in your review that this storyline is done. I don't think it's done. Like, I think we are. Because if it's not, what do you do next with Eva Marie?
Yeah, well, that is a bit of a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
What does Eva Marie do? I mean, they booked a Moss. Just book her like a Moss in the women's division. If you can make me think a Moss is a good wrestler, why can't you do that for everybody?
Sorry, someone in the chat just said the match was supposed to suck, so it succeeded in its execution.
After that, we got the Karion Kross promo, which, even this, I was like, well, it's better than what has been happening.
Yeah.
So he's backstage. He's dressed in a black suit. There's a smoke machine going on. There's some creepy operatic music. It is not how I would have booked Kross, but it is so much better than everything else he's done on the main roster so far. It's not with Johnny Drip Drip. He's not wearing a gimp outfit. He didn't lose a match. The crowd weren't there to be completely silent for him. And the gist of the promo was, I like to inflict suffering. I don't really have an aim at the moment, but I'm not going to get lost in the shuffle. And I hear shuffle, I think draft. So I don't know if this is building towards an angle for the draft in a few weeks' time.
I think it might lead to him doing a few more squash matches on Raw and not get over. That's my big hot take on what his current direction is.
I don't know. An easy reset is drafting with Scarlett Bordeaux.
But to what end? He's winning now. Like, he doesn't need Scarlett. He's done nothing but win.
I think, but he's so generic.
Have you seen that mask? He stands out from everyone else. And his crap He-Man gear, far from generic. So he looks like an action figure now.
Well, I thought it was decent. Curious to see where it goes. And then we got the main event, which we've already covered. So yes, 5 out of 5 show. Talking about it, maybe half of the show was 3 out of 5, and the finish was a 6 out of 5, and I've ended in a 5 out of 5. I don't know.
Yeah. So this was your every week run-of-the-mill episode of Raw. Some good, some bad, some fun, some terrible, with an outstanding ending. Like, despite the weirdness, I loved the opening promo segment, and I loved the story that ran throughout the night. And A.S.H cashing in, ending the night as WWE champion is just the best. I absolutely love it, and I'm really excited to see what he can do as WWE champion. I hope they don't Kofi this. I hope he gets a really good run with the belt, meaningful feuds. That is what I'm hoping for A.S.H as the champion. But yeah, like if I was to score the episode, I probably would have said 4, like really elevated by that moment. I don't think it's like, because 5 out of 5 would mean like it's like a great episode. Everyone should go out their way to see it. But realistically, everyone should only go out their way to see that final moment.
Yeah, it's a relative scale. It is definitely, by far, though, comfortably the best episode of Raw this year.
Hands down. Do you want to see what the community tab had to say?
Yes.
So the community tab,
what?
43% said it was an average 3 out of 5 episode of Raw. 29% said it was a 4 out of 5 episode. 14% said it was a 5 out of 5 Rawsome episode.
That really surprised me. I thought 4 would be the most highly weighted. Wow. I mean, that's indicative of WWE just destroying all their trust in their audience.
Completely.
You can put those moments on, but the viewers are going to be like, nah, I don't believe it though. What does it matter? Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm very out of step there.
Well, do you want to shout out some $25 backers?
Yes.
So head on over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Backers over at Patreon there. There's a whole bunch of perks. Ollie and I reviewed Ring of Honor. We reviewed Ring of Honor All-Star Extravaganza from 2016, featuring like Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Hangman Page, and a pretty terrific ladder match between the Addiction, Motor City Machine Guns, and the Young Bucks. Also, mine and Denise's Patreon mailbag episode went live yesterday, so there's lots of fun stuff to get on over to patreon.com. And if you back us at the $25 level or above, you get your name read out in this show with a fun wrestling nickname like these fine folk.
Oh, you're going to make me do the first
I'm letting you go first. That's the order we do things in.
Vienes el decimotercero, Jason Huertes.
Oh, so impressive. You should do the second one as well, actually.
I don't know this one. The Vienes man rake decima canta.
That's the craftsman Blake Carpenter. Dive, Dylan Cachetta.
The Schrock Master, Austin Schrock.
Living in the past, Kieran Pryor.
The intellectual savior of the masses, Damien Campbell.
Michael Mark for Life Plowman.
Peter Fiber Brauntus.
The Emperor's New Groove, Nick Lama.
The Big Bad Dog, Ryan Hansen.
Bad Connection, Thomas Lagden.
And Don't Impede, Scott Peden.
That is your Hall of Fame class for the 14th of September, 2021. Thank you all so much for being awesome pledge hammers on Patreon. But let's get into the rest of your Ultra Chats. We have got quite a few to get through as well. Alpaca Nation 87 got choked up at the title win, but seeing Ali's tweet about Brody would be so happy absolutely put me over the edge. Oh, man, man. HCB said, hi guys, so refreshing seeing Big E as the WWE champion. Only issue is it didn't seem very in character and a bit random. Would have preferred more logic and build. Liked the Kross promo as well. Also, I love the guy, but who did you hurt to get put with Sully, Luke? I wanted to tag with Sully. That's a great idea. The lovely boys.
It's like she's all that.
I can't wait to take we're going to have such a nice time on Quizzlemania tomorrow. I've had so many Quizzlemanias where I've like, oh, I've got to be in a tag team and I've got to win the belts, or I've got to do this and I'm just going to have a lovely time and it's going to be great. Power Pack is 90. The other thing on that as well is like the more build and logic. I kind of agree on that. I do keep forgetting that he had the Money in the Bank briefcase because he's just sort of had it, aside from the Corbin thing. He's just sort of like been walking around with it for the most part. But I just love Big E. I always think back to when Booker T went on his terrible opinion wrestling show that he's got. And he was like, Big E can't be a WWE champion because he doesn't take himself seriously. So on the next episode of SmackDown, Big E just barrel rolled down the ramp as his entrance. Like, yes, put the belt on that man. Power Packers 90. Happy for Beach's win, but honestly, the football game was a great game too. First week of the season and on free TV. I don't think this will be a huge ratings bump, sadly. Touchdown.
So the NFL have been doing monster ratings. Biggest rating in 5 years or something for an opening game last week.
Brendan Irwin. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Literally, the only thing left that I cared for in WWE was Beige, and now this. Don't go giving too many props to Raw boys. Twitter is going to love you. Hair looks great, Ollie. Pumped for Mini Owen. Jam that jam. The legit underboss. Was Big E winning the titles a ratings bump? Yes. Do I care? No. But if this ends up like a Kofi type run, I'll be pissed. Also in the review, Ollie said Alexa hit a Canadian Destroyer on Charlotte when it was actually a code red. -5 mark points. It was a code red.
What's the difference?
Well, one of them was a powerbomb, the other's a power driver.
Got you.
You wouldn't have said, like, what's the difference between the last ride and the God's
code red.
The code red. Well,
I can't say. They all look the same to me. They're quite similar looking moves.
They're really not. Black Adam. I loved the intensity of the opening promo. It's refreshing to see people take the main title seriously, compared to AEW, where it's just a bunch of knobs yucking it up in every feud they get into. Love AEW, but this felt like there was gravitas to it.
I agree, Black Adam. AEW's going down.
Well, I was going to say this as well. Like, you know, when 2 weeks ago, when All Out happened, and everyone was like, this is it. This is the death knell for WWE. What a sinking ship. You know, they put the belt on Big E and everyone was like, love this company. This is why this company is never going to die. Because they've got this hold on us that they just do one thing and it was like, man, they're turning the ship around yet again. William Buchner. Did you notice Bobby Lashley saying he wasn't scared of Brock Lesnar during the opening promo? MVP asked Big E if he left SmackDown because he was scared of Roman or Brock. Bobby said, I'm not, after MVP said Lesnar's name. Maybe foretelling?
Well, they wanted to do that match forever. It was apparently part of Bobby's contract when he came back in, or at least part of the negotiations.
Matthew Burlage. I know you said the opening was odd, but I actually liked that it was different. Made me perk up instead of tuning it out. I think if it had been a typical promo interrupt, it would have felt boring and the same. Yeah, but it was just in the kayfabe world. What were they doing?
Different doesn't mean good. Different means different.
Kevin said, I really liked Mansoor and Kofi's exchange on Twitter when Mansoor said he wants to make Ali and Kofi friends again. Remember the New Day versus Retribution feud? No. I like Mansoor's character, but apart from their entrance, he doesn't have a chance to show it. Also, New Day versus Bloodline at Survivor Series. Yeah, I'd watch that. M. Don 11. Golly, for staying home when you're sick. Wish more people in Australia did this. If this gets a low rating because people have given up, do you think Vince will stick with it or throw the baby or Beige out with the bathwater?
Yeah, I just think they'll keep throwing stuff at the wall.
Trenton Brown, Ollie giving Raw a 5, an ending that made fans happy. We truly are in Bizarro world. Unrelated note, I saw Shang-Chi last week, and there was a point during the third act where Luke's Undertaker impression popped into my head screaming, I want souls.
Very good. What a movie. Can't recommend that film enough.
Alpaca Nation 87. So do Lashley and MVP take the tag titles off of RK Bro now, and then Woods and Kingston can take it from them? Or do you go straight into New Day versus RK Bro?
I don't know, but I'm quite excited. All of a sudden, we've got 3 pretty big main event level worthy teams there. So maybe Raw might have a tag division again.
Of 3 teams. Zachary Jenkins. On Sunday night, I was in Boston Airport and I looked and see Karion Kross and Drake Maverick 5 feet in front of me. Kross is so nice in person. Feel bad now that he's a gimp. 10 Rosa, I don't understand how people can enjoy Alexa Bliss. It's the worst hokey stuff. People so bored they'll enjoy anything now. Priest for the title or Rumble win next year. NXT, it was nice knowing you. Ollie, you may need sleep if you liked Raw. I thought that actually Alexa was pretty good on this show.
Yeah, like we've said, supernatural bliss where stuff doesn't make sense, bad. This kind of bliss where you can explain things as psychological mind games, perfect.
Ket, do you think Extreme Rules would be a better concept of a pay-per-view if all the match stipulations were determined via a roulette wheel?
No,
I don't think so.
No, because then you want stipulations to tie into the feuds and stories. Ideally, you don't want that to be decided by chance.
Joe Nero West was watching a recap of the NFL game last night. One of the guys said along the lines, "It was a tough match. I call it a match because it was something like professional wrestling, like AEW." I always hear that example used with. That example used with WWE. AEW now mainstream. Nice.
Certainly breaking through, isn't it?
Isaiah Garner, what a time to be a wrestling fan. Raw actually gave me something to look forward to. SmackDown has been mostly good. I bought my first AEW pay-per-view and they deliver with CM Punk's first match, Danielson and Cole debut. Genuinely a very exciting time. Now, I feel bad for Charles Berg here. Because if you're new to the show, Charles sends in pictures of dogs that he looks after and he calls it the paw review. Instead of us reviewing Raw, we can talk about dogs and that. And for the last few weeks, we've been back in the office and not been able to show them on screen. So we've just been reading the descriptions that he sends across to us. This is the first week where we would have been able to put it up on screen. And Charles messaged in saying like, I probably won't do it now because you can't show it on screen.
He has got in touch to say it's hilarious.
Charles, I've been thinking about this, and if it's something I'd prefer if you two, as well as the mods in chat, decide. Should I pause the paw review? Feel bad that the chat can't see the dogs. Not guilt tripping. I'm just conflicted. It's kind of jam that jam. Chris Baldwin, you guys are great. Keep up the fantastic work. Jam that jam. Sorry, did you have some thoughts on the paw review?
I was just a little bit upset that Charles Berg didn't write the word. Should I pause the paw review as a paw?
James Hanley, after seeing your acrobatic skills, Ollie, which new name do you prefer? Ray Davis, Ollie Phoenix, Ollie Shea, Will Olispray, or Jushin Liger Thunder Jushin?
Will Olispray is the most clunky, so that one. Did you see my forward roll?
Oh, it was tremendous.
Actually hurt my back.
I could tell. And I could tell that you hadn't either, because you approached the mat being like, I don't think I know what I'm supposed to do now. I'm also going to presume that you were getting hints from your good partner on how to do this properly.
Yeah, she did it a few times for me, and then she was like, well, now you do it. Let me see your form. And I was like, no, I think it'll be funnier if I just do it first time. And she was like, no, you might hurt yourself. I said, just film me then. So that is genuinely the first forward roll I've done in, I don't know, however long.
You did hurt yourself.
Yeah, just twinged something in my upper back. So it's just a bit weird in certain movements.
Not had a good week, you have you? Not feeling well. Now you've hurt your back. Justin Pringle says, mental health moment. Please take care of your mental health. You think you need help, please seek it out. You are loved and worthy. We need you here with us. Thank you very much for that message, Justin. Also, thank you as well, because we get that on that gets sent out on Fightful as well, which is very lovely to hear in that. Brendan Harris said, not sure if this has been mentioned yet, but we just had an African-American WWE champion lose the title to another African American. Don't think that's ever happened before. Nice to know Raw was good this week. Might actually watch it later. Yeah, Brendan was. I've mentioned a good number of people, and that is really cool.
I think what's really awesome is it doesn't even feel like a thing. I mean, I'm sure it is. It is. You know, a lot of people should take note of that achievement. But to me, as a viewer, I don't see like, oh, this person's of this ethnicity, this person's of this ethnicity. It's like the women main eventing shows. Doesn't even register with me anymore. But just 3 years ago, that would be like the biggest story of the month.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's to WWE's credit as well. Yeah. Enormous credit, especially with the drumming that they got on Friday, justifiably so, for the state of women's wrestling over on SmackDown. But on this show, they had 4 women's matches, and it didn't feel like, wow, bloody hell, they got 4 women's matches on the show. It was just, that's what Raw does.
And one of them was Nikki versus Tamina.
One of them was, and to WWE's credit, I think they should be applauded for that. I think AEW could learn a heck of a lot from that. Probably not from SmackDown though. And James Hanley lastly says, I know I don't hide my disdain for WWE business, specifically Vince, but it's nice to hear everyone so happy on the Tuesday podcast. Beige, by all accounts, is one of the nicest people alive, and I hope they can finally get their S word together. Finally, jam that jam. You and me both, James, because I have taken the more cynical viewpoint on this show of the reasons why they did put the belt onto him. But I hope that this does lead to something good, and I hope we all have a lovely time off the back of it. It's much nicer to watch a wrestling show I enjoy.
I'm looking forward to having Big E on Raw.
Yeah.
Big E on Raw moving forward. As a guy I really like to watch. Now we get to talk about him for the next couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, I'm super stoked about what they do. Stoked to find out what they're going to do with Beige and with that title. And it's fun being a wrestling fan. I actually rewatched All Out yesterday while I was doing some editing and stuff. That show is actually better on its second watch than it was in its first one. I loved like almost every match that was on the card. Do you know what I actually thought?
Pardon my lewdness. I got a boner for that.
I did. I did. For this episode of Raw as well. Oliver Davis, I'll throw it to you to do the outro run.
Do I have to?
No, I can do it if you want. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do subscribe to this channel if this is your first time here. Also, smash that thumbs up button. Tell your friends, tell your mum about this show. Get her to come and watch. And thank you for all of your generous Ultrachats. Thank you to our incredible moderating team for all of their hard work that they do. And thank you to all of you for watching. We're back tomorrow with the NXT podcast. A new NXT champion will be crowned. My money is on LA Knight. Have you got a prediction?
God, I don't know what they're gonna do. I could see. Yeah, there's something in my gut that agrees with you. LA Knight.
I actually stole the idea from her. I think she might be onto something. So I think it's that. Anyway, that'll be tomorrow. NXT podcast. Pete and Tim that with a new NXT champion. Then Ollie Davis and I will be back again remotely on Thursday to review AEW Dynamite, where CM Punk is doing commentary and Adam Cole's having his debut match. Thank you, everyone. Take care. I love you. Goodbye. Jam that jam. And